Your Honor, the evidence supporting the defendant's alibi is irrefutable. The empty shells and matching DNA strands as presented by the defense team only further corroborates our case. Furthermore, we have character witnesses to support our story, such as Jeremy Schmidt, the defendant's best friend.
Objection. Relevance.
Objection sustained.
Objection. We have character witnesses.
Overturned. Character witnesses are irrelevant to the case at hand.
Your Honor, the policemen who first arrived on the scene were believed to have tampered with the record of the said character witnesses to cover up their lives of misdemeanors and felonies. In total, their wrongdoings add up to 104 criminal offenses.
Objection, Your Honor, Mr. Fields has his own share of wrongdoings and criminal history.
Overturned. Mr. Vance, please be without prejudice towards the defense attorney for the remainder of the trial.
Objection. The defense is clearly biased, and I declare this a mistrial.
Overturned. Mr. Fields and Mr. Vance, refrain from unnecessary objections.
Your Honor, may I have permission to approach the front of the room?
You may.
Exhibit F, a labeled DNA strand sent to us by the lab. This strand was identified to be that of the defendant, Mr. Jacob Jarrar. As opposed to what the prosecution is saying, the DNA is not that of his twin brother, Joran Jarrar. I move to have this declared a mistrial for negligence on the defense's behalf.
Unless the prosecution can prove beyond reasonable doubt that Mr. Jacob Jarrar committed this crime, then I suggest we call in the character witness to testify.
Even when taking into consideration the possibility of allowing a testimony from a character witness, Ms. Ferris was fined over an obstruction of justice charge just 2.5 weeks before this trial.
Your Honor, permission to present evidence?
You may present evidence.
Exhibit C, a professional analysis done by a team of forensic pathologists from different backgrounds showing that the defendant in fact did not commit this crime.
Your Honor, if character witnesses are allowed, may I call my own impartial character witness to testify?
You may.
The defense calls Sasha Fields into the room.
What about the Vengeful Seven?
You've just been grievously double-crossed. What Pinecone said is 100% true. Joran couldn't have committed any of those terrible crimes Vance is accusing him of, because he was with me going on a killing spree. Miss Fields, if what you've just confessed is true, both you and the one being accused by the defense could be arrested for any amount of charges of first-degree murder. I demand to speak to an attorney.
Your Honor, I move to have Miss Fields' testimony struck from the record, as she was not given her Miranda rights at the time of her arrest.
Granted, her testimony is struck from the record due to her not being given the Miranda rights.
Your Honor, my client was read his Miranda rights before he ever reached the police station.
I agree with Mr. Vance and approve his motion to hear a testimony by a character witness. Proceed, Mr. Cockey.
Mr. Cockey, in 3 or more words, how would you describe Joran as a person?
Arrogant, mean, reckless.
Mr. Cockey, in 3 or more words, how would you describe Jacob as a person?
Kind, loving, funny.
Thank you, Mr. Cockey.
Bok bok. That means you're welcome.
Permission to cross-examine the witness?
Permission granted.
Mr. Cockey, were you aware of Mr. Jarrar's whereabouts at the time of the crime?
Yes, he was caught red-handed stealing tomato sauce from the fancy restaurant down the block from my house.
Then I assume you aren't aware that the real perpetrator behind the crime was arrested several weeks ago, in an incident unrelated to the Jarrar brothers?
I admit, I fraudulently altered the witnesses' backgrounds to make them seem innocent, and I have been blaming my crimes on the Jarrar brothers for the past 7 years.
There's a confession, Your Honor.
The court finds Mr. Cockey guilty for 22 charges of obstruction of justice, 78 charges of murder, 96 charges of fraud, 29 charges of breaking and entering, 5 charges of assault and battery, and 2 charges of grand larceny. The court sentences Mr. Cockey to 18 lifetimes in prison without parole, because while cats have 9 lives, chickens are worth 2 cats.
The last mission was a failure. We need to do better.
We can't pay off our rent if we don't keep raking in bounty money.
Killing is my profession and my life. If we don't quench my thirst for blood, we'd be homeless and I'd be crazy.
There's a politician on my payroll named Benedict Sherman. We could kill him off and get some of the money back.
We have to go to the streets and beat up our tenants for cash. They are paying rent early tonight.
The mercenary business is a cruel mistress. If relying on the client's tips won't keep us afloat, gangs will.
The Christen doesn't pay well, and the Evis of Graville are hostile to newcomers. Gangs won't cut it.
Perhaps we can secure a loan from a bank, so we can pay off our bills.
There's a great business opportunity here between you two and myself.
What's the opportunity?
There's me's being catapulted from every reality, and there's too many of myself.
How many of you are we dealing with?
We're dealing with dozens of me's. If these doppelgangers are left unchecked, our reality could potentially cease to exist, or at best, see its progress eradicated.
We know that you're dangerous. You're all over the news as of late.
It's not me. It's these lookalikes who are trashing my name and rampaging through the city like maniacs. There's another reason why you need to get rid of them.
We'll kill every copycat and doppelganger standing in our way.
You have our word.
There's personal matters I have to discuss with the accuser, so you'll have to leave, Mr. Fields.
You've seen Fields' criminal records, and you know what he's capable of.
I don't think we should believe what Casey's saying until we see these doppelgangers ourselves.
Hey! I'm Pinecone from the reality where he founded a religion based off himself. Pinacontism.
Stop trolling.
I'm Pinecone from the reality where he became Albert Einstein.
You're not Pinecone. You're just Albert Einstein.
Okay, you got me.
There's pine cones everywhere. I could initially handle 1 or 2 pine cones, but there's dozens, and it's like they're falling from metaphorical trees. I suspect the one pine cone we know is behind this. He's plotting to take down the Vengeful Seven using numbers and brute force. We're running out of options. Use if. If Pinecone becomes too much, we should prepare for the chance that we need to kill him ourselves, without the rest of the Vengeful Seven. I hope it never comes to that, but I am prepared. Look!
I've seen you from my reality before. You were the one who put a gun to my head and tried to kill me.
You're a funny man, Fields. Casey Fields will persist and continually come after us until he brings us all down. That's why we need to bring him down first. There's a chance that we might have to fight. If we have to fight, we should. If things don't go according to plan, I want you to know that I love you, brother. I love you too, Jero. There won't be any more obstacles in our way. We'll kill all the pine cones except the one we know, and leave him to the others.
There's too many Pinacones. Don't get me wrong, he's an amazing person, but this is all spiraling out of control.
Have you considered talking to Jero and Yusuf? You two were acquaintances.
They are collaborating with the Vengeful Seven. I can't risk my friendship with Casey Fields talking to them.
They might be your only option. Besides, once the other pine cones are dead, you can submit Jero and Yusuf to the deputy sheriff and have them tried for murder.
I was thinking that there might be less hostile methods to get rid of these dupes from other realities. Jero is calling me. What do I say to him?
Speak the truth and try to reach an agreement.
Chris, I'm willing to make an offer, only if you're willing to make an offer.
I'm not talking to you. You and your brother want to kill Pinecone and get paid.
We're not going to kill Pinecone. We're not in it for the money, at least. Meet us at the dumpster behind the fancy restaurant you're dining in. We've placed a tracker in your purse, so we know where you are at all times. Don't run, I'll be there shortly.
This alleyway makes me uncomfortable.
It does send shivers down my spine.
What's your agenda?
I'm here for the same reasons you are.
To kill Pinecone?
I don't want to kill our pinecone, only the pinecones that selfishly jump to other realities.
They're not in control of this. There was a mistake in the calculations of travel between realities, and several dead men went the wrong way.
You're saying we're killing innocents?
We'd be killing people who made mistakes, people like you and me, and sending them to another reality to have another chance.
Killing would be justified?
It wouldn't be justified in the court of law, but it would be justified morally.
Jero and I will track down and kill the other pinecones, except for ours. Except for ours. Ours is okay. I'll catch up with you later.
What if I don't want to return to my reality? What if I want to stay here? You have to return, or else both realities are going to be reset completely to the way they were before, and we'll lose all of our progress. That would be unfortunate. if I cared enough to want to do something, because I hate life, other me. Well, I don't hate life, and I think what you're doing is wrong. You said it. I said it. We both said it. We sit in our rooms every night and ask ourselves why life has any worth. I discovered my worth when I met my friends, family, people who loved me for who I am. If you haven't found people who love you yet, I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean you should let two worlds die for it. I never felt loved. Now's your chance to feel loved. Let me kill you, and I promise you'll go back to your reality. I already made arrangements with Senator. Promise me everything will be okay. I promise.
He actually killed himself. I can't believe that he actually killed himself.
What do you say to the idea of getting out of here?
Sure.
Sure.
1 month later, Chris would be able to finally apply in her dream job as a leading industry worker at a tech conglomerate. 1 month later, Jero and Yusuf left the Vengeful Seven and become successful government-hired spies, alongside Joran Jarar. 1 month later, Casey Fields still continues to practice law, and rebuild his firm's office from the havoc wreaked by a previous fire. After Joran Jarar turned himself in clear to Casey Fields convinced the judge that Joran's honesty meant he was trying to do better. As you can see, Your Honor, my client Joran Jarar is a man who is now trying to do the right thing.
I see your point. Joran is forgiven for all crimes.
But then there was more trouble.
Yusuf and Hiro abandoned us.
So we will proceed as the Vengeful Five.